Despite recent gains in visibility, more trans people were killed in 2016 than in any other year on record. And a long-standing lack of trust in the police means many other crimes in the LGBT community go unreported. But a few pioneering transgender police officers and their departments are helping to bridge that divide. Caroline Motoresi-Tehrani went to Seattle to meet the first openly trans cop on the city's force.
Tory Newbern starts his shift at 3 a.m. patrolling Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood.
1 Edward 2 on traffic. We'll be stopping on East Pine Street and Broadway. I pulled you over because your headlights weren't on.
Right. I forgot to turn them on when I left this morning.
Okay.
I truly did.
No big deal.
Walk careful in the
No worries. Okay, take care. Thank you, bye.
So, have you always wanted to be a police officer?
No, I would have laughed at you if you had told me, 5 years ago that I was going to be a police officer. I was kind of a hippie.
Tory was presenting as male before he entered the police academy in 2014, and he waited a year before he started telling his co-workers that he is transgender.
People wouldn't know I'm transgender unless I told them, so that's a luxury, that's a privilege. I just wanted to kind of be treated like anybody else, and so I chose to be stealth.
Tory has come out to the colleagues he regularly works with, but not to the department as a whole. Some only recently found out when we visited Tory to hear his story.
I was kind of happy the fact that I've known him and I've considered him a friend. I just kind of see it's like, wow, like somebody that actually reflects the community that we serve.
Nationally, violence against trans people is the highest it has ever been. More deadly attacks took place in 2016 than in the year before. And Seattle Gay News Associate Editor Sean Little says the city's LGBT community, the 5th largest in the country, isn't immune to this kind of violence.
A few years ago, there was a well-known hairdresser in the Filipino and gay community named Danny Vega who was beaten to death, and his murder is unsolved. So that's an open wound still. When you have things like that happening, it makes you kind of sit up a little bit and say, there's some things going on here. We need a way to communicate with the police. We need a way to communicate with each other to keep each other safe.
To improve the relationship with the LGBT community and encourage victims of suspected hate crimes to self-report, Seattle PD created the Safe Place program. For nearly 2 years, local businesses have volunteered to be spaces for LGBT people to wait safely after calling 911. And last March, the police department implemented transgender training for all of its officers to educate them on how to interact with trans suspects and crime victims, including what pronouns to use.
I don't think we would have had this conversation even 5 years ago. It sends a message to the community that we're a police department and a city, quite frankly, that is accepting of people.
More than 100 law enforcement agencies around the country have requested a copy of the training video, including the neighbouring King County's Sheriff's Office. That's where Deputy Jamie Deere works.
Old as I can remember, I was always dressing as a boy and I thought it was a boy.
He met his wife Kay on the job and came out to the force as lesbian. They got married when he was still going by Melissa. But when he started taking hormones, he wrestled with the decision of coming out to his co-workers again, this time as trans.
Hey, what's up? I would rather face an armed suspect, which I have. I'd rather fight with bad guys. I would rather face, anything that you can find on this job that's life-threatening and scary than having to come out to, 700 coworkers and put it out there. That's, to open yourself up like that was terrifying to me.
But the alternative of not being yourself was more scary?
Yeah, just to have that self-loathing deep inside that had driven me at times of contemplating, not living anymore. All right, Sarge.
When Jamie decided to come out, there weren't many resources, besides a few forums, like the website TCOP, a peer support network for trans police officers. For Tori, it's different. He's coming out at a time when the city of Seattle is actively working with the trans community on issues of safety and acceptance. Marsha Botzer has worked with law enforcement in the past and has seen efforts of police engagement fail. She says things feel different with trans officers on the force.
So as far as violence towards transgender people, it absolutely will help to have transgender folks in the police department and the entire department understanding what transgender is and what it is not. That will help. Violence, I think, will decrease. How could it not if there's that kind of understanding?
With so many voices coming together from their departments and the LGBT community, Jamie and Tori believe that speaking out now will be impactful.
It's a long process to earn trust back when trust has been broken in the past. My hope is that me coming out as a transgender police officer will be another layer of building that bridge.